Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Once again, Second Acts is in the building. And as I always say, this is not just for those who are behind the wall. This is for the families. This is for the people in society. This is for people any place, every place who need to be encouraged. I mean, we believe encouragement knows no walls, knows no boundaries. And we're here, man, just to share. That's it. So don't think, oh, Second Acts is for prisoners, because your conditions change. I used to be a prisoner and my condition changed. So I can still listen to this. My brother was locked up and his conditions changed. He can still listen to this. My son has never been locked up and he can listen to this. So it's for everybody who's out there, who's just struggling, whatever prison that you live in, mentally, physically, emotionally, or an addiction. We just want to help you and let you know that we care about you. We want to see you and help you do better. That's it. And today, I'm saying it's that day. I'm saying it's that day. We are here in Hot Atlanta. I'm saying we have none other than the first Gospel Grammy Award winner. Did I say it right?
In hip hop, for sure. Yeah. As a rapper, yeah.
No. Listen.
Yeah.
We're taking that.
It hasn't been done.
It's been done.
Well, it's been done.
It's been done.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Yeah, I'm grateful.
How did that feel?
It was crazy, man. I didn't anticipate it. I didn't expect it. I was just glad to make music. I was trying to make music for the people, and it went further than I ever expected.
And for those who say, well, okay, he's the first hip-hop Grammy Award winner, which is phenomenal. I'm saying, let me give him a proper introduction. There's none other than a legendary rapper, Lecrae.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
We're here together.
Yeah, okay, right on.
We're actually in your building.
You are. This is true.
We're actually in your building.
That's very true.
And I appreciate you. Your building's phenomenal, man.
Thank you, man.
This is a really nice space, and your staff and your team's been completely, man, hospitable, and we appreciate being here.
I think they're the best in the city.
So starting off, what we do is we share with the people.
Okay.
And a lot of those locked up are definitely going to get this, and some in society, because we play on all platforms.
Right.
We're not just on JPay. We're on all platforms.
Right.
So my mother listens to this.
Yeah.
So work with me.
All right.
Mom Deuce is going to listen to this,
right,
and she will be like, okay.
Yeah.
And my sister's going to have commentary on you, because that's what they do. They
Yeah.
critique everything I do and everybody I rock with. So what would you want to say to your people that's listening to you, your family?
Oh, man. First of all, I just appreciate y'all. And obviously, I mean, you hit on a lot of great things in terms of just, you are not your number. You're not identified by where you are. You are not your circumstance, And I will hope that, I want to see people as individuals and share, and be, I make music for the people. I give my time, effort, energy for the people, and their circumstances don't dictate whether or not, they should have access to that.
So, told me, you're a believer. You're making hip hop rap. That kind of makes you a believer.
Yeah.
So, why?
Why? What? Music?
What does Jesus mean to you?
Oh man! Oh my goodness!
I mean, not the music. Music is a vehicle.
Yeah.
But why Jesus?
You got to understand the way I grew up. I didn't grow up in the church. It was all kind of a foreign concept to me. My grandmother was like there involved, but I just grew up doing my own thing. I was free thinking and just living life. And I just thought that church was for, squares. I thought church was for like grandmas or whatnot. And I was open to exploring beliefs and views. And I went to a conference, and that's where I got confronted with some believers. And, the reality that I think I walked away with was like everything I looked in, whether it was other religions or just myself, was all about me trying to earn my way to God, where, following Christ was more about God reaching down and pulling me up where I couldn't pull myself up.
Grace.
And so grace, exactly. So that's really where everything changed for me. Was like, that's where the spiritual transformation changed. It wasn't me trying to earn his approval. It was me understanding I'm approved of because of grace.
Yes. Yeah. You are in the tribe.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
are definitely in the tribe.
Yeah.
So there's somebody right now, because we can talk about us.
For sure.
We can talk about us for 3 hours.
Yeah.
We can talk about you for 10 hours. But for me, when I come to these tables, it's not about us. There's somebody sitting in the cell right now who's depressed.
Yeah.
There's a mom sitting at home right now who's upset that her son is still in jail for the 3rd or 4th time.
Yeah.
There's somebody driving to work on the way to a really nice job who ain't a believer, ain't in jail, and got a suit and tie on, and they thinking about, man, this ain't worth it. Why should I do this anymore?
Yeah.
What's your message for them?
Man, it's not a foreign concept to me. I've been, the kid whose father was incarcerated, who had to do visitations with family members, uncles, so on and so forth, who is still having to make those phone calls. The kid who has been arrested himself. And so there's so many elements, you know what I mean, that you wrestle with. But I think what I would say is what I've learned over the years, especially from some of, the people behind the wall, is that you can't change your circumstance, but you can be changed by your circumstance. So if you're down and you're depressed because of your circumstance, you may not be able to change it, right? You got a sentence, you may not be able to change that sentence, but how can that sentence change you? How can that make you the person that God created you to be? And so I've seen individuals take reading classes, financial literacy classes. My boy Jay just got out after 23 years for something he didn't do, but he's spent his time effectively learning on the inside, and now he's so much more effective on the outside. He's changed the legacy of his family. He's changed his own future. And so it's like, man, this is an opportunity to become who you were created to be. And I'm a firm believer all things work together for the good of those who love God. So it's your chance to just, allow things to work towards your benefit in the meantime.
So when you started, you just started as a regular rapper, as I call it? Because I grew up on Run DMC. I'm a Run DMC,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, LL Cool J. I'm 54.
Yeah.
So I was there when it started.
Yeah.
I wasn't in New York.
Right.
But I was, when it came,
It was
when Run DMC went on their first tour, playing roller skating rings, I was there.
Yeah.
I was at the first Fresh Fest.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, where it was Fat Boys, it was Fat Boys, Run DMC, and Houdini.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? The first Fresh Fest back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So did you start there?
Yeah, I started just as a regular rap. I mean, I'm a product of hip hop. My cousins had me watching rap music videos at like 6 years old. So I just saw myself on the screen, and that's all I could imagine myself doing or becoming. So I understand the culture. I understand what's going on. I'm from it. So it's just, it's just a part of who I am. But like I said, that spiritual transformation made me think about what I was writing. And when your lifestyle changed, I was always the type of person I rap what I live.
Gotcha.
So you would never hear me rapping about something I didn't live. And when my lifestyle changed, my words had to change. You know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
I began to rap about the transformation that was happening and just being honest about it and relatable. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I'm not a pastor, but I'm somebody who's been transformed, and I want people to hear that story. So
Tell us the story.
well, honestly, I've been through the ringer, you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of anguish. And, I don't think God wants us to tell these pretty stories about how, everything's going to be perfect and it's roses and you walking around in a garden. I think it's like stories of pain and suffering and how he helps us overcome in the midst of that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we dig into the details of Moses having, murdered somebody and had to escape and run away, and God still was like, I'm gonna use you. I don't think we dig into the details of Rahab, selling her body, but still being part of the lineage that brought forth the savior of the world. I don't think we dig into that. So for me, I grew up with a very dysfunctional family. My father, became addicted to drugs. He spent a lot of time in and out of the system. My mom's a single parent, just trying to figure it out. I'm following my uncles in the streets. They're gang members and drug dealers, and that's just the route that I felt like I needed to take. But I knew I was smart. I knew more than a lot of my peers knew. But just having access to use that ability, that creative and intellectual ability, and man, I was just blessed because something, I had aunts who exposed me to stuff. You was talking about your son traveling the world. My aunt got to teach in Tokyo. She sent me a postcard. It changed my life because I didn't know we could go to Tokyo.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
we can. Can
right,
we go to Tokyo?
exactly. We can go to Tokyo. I've been twice already. Now,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
It's on my list.
So seeing that type of stuff made me know, like, there's more to just this. And I'll never forget the day I was standing on the street corner, and I'm about 13. The rival gang has been terrorizing the community, and one of the older fellas in the neighborhood, handed us a gun and said, y'all gonna have to step up. And I don't think it really dawned on me like what I was being asked to do, but it was like almost like a supernatural experience where I realized like wait a minute, I don't have to do this. You know what I mean? Like I seen Tokyo, and I don't have to do this. And I think I made up my mind. You know what I mean? I ended up down the line going through a series of real problems that really made me make up my mind.
Okay.
But I think that put me on a trajectory of knowing I could be better. I could do something other than what everybody else was doing.
Tell me about that postcard. When it came in the mail.
I was kind of blown away. You know, my aunt wrote it directly to me. I had never seen anything from another country before. The pictures that, you know, was on it. I want to say she sent me some tea leaves. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even drink tea, but I was excited, you know.
You saw it. It's different.
Exactly. So, but just the material. And, you know, for a kid who, I'm a latchkey kid since I was like 8 years old. I stayed at home by myself. My imagination was crazy because I watched so much television. So a kid, I'm like, wait, this is real. Like I could really go to this place. And I think that blew my mind away because I didn't know that there was a bigger world than what I existed in.
When I was in high school, I failed all 3 years. Freshman, sophomore, junior. I failed all three.
I failed freshman year, right?
I failed all three. All three, off rip.
Yeah, you got me beat.
I got kicked out of a class in junior year, and I was in the hallway.
Yeah.
And then it was the day the superintendent of schools was coming, like everybody got out the hallways. It's like, we ain't no nonsense day.
Yeah.
And they put me in the auditorium. The security guy said, go in the auditorium, sit in the back, just don't cause no trouble.
Yeah.
They were doing an exchange student program. And there was a black guy with a bow tie telling all these little white kids they can go to Europe, they can go to Asia, they can go to France, they can go to Germany. I'm like, you're lying.
Right.
And where do you get these kids from? And so they don't even go to this school.
Yeah.
And instead of throwing me out of the room, he challenged me. He called me to the front of the room and said, are you done? He said 3 things. 1, it's not your money. 2, it's not your decision. And 3, he's going.
Wow.
And he stood up and we walked out in the hallway. It was the first time anybody ever stood up for me. When we got out in the hallway, he gave me that look. I thought he was going to say, I told you so. Instead, he said, never say no for them.
Wow.
And I got to go to Europe. I was failing. I went on a robbery spree to get the money to get the clothes I needed, but that's another story. But I went to Europe, spent
that's crazy.
2 months in Europe as a 17-year-old high school dropout. Damn near.
That would've changed
because
my
when
life.
they gave the program, they said we can't do grades because you won't get any black kids. So they said you have to go on potential. So in 1984, I was deemed to have the most potential of any kid in Boston public school system. And a year after that event, I was in prison. Like you said, you knew you were smart.
Yeah.
I knew I was smart, but I didn't know how to exercise it.
Yep.
What do I do with this smartness?
Yep.
I hustle.
Yep.
I find out ways we can make money better.
Yep.
I find out ways to hide stuff better. I find out ways to,
Yep.
you were exercising in the wrong space.
Yep. My best friend right now is in the feds because he was smarter than me. And the scams that we would put together were so elaborate as middle schoolers. You know what I mean? But I found an outlet. You know, I had people who grabbed me up and invested in me. And I had a mother who was relentless. You know what I mean? So, but he didn't have that. And so it got him where he's at now.
Yeah. When I was in prison, there was a few guys in prison with us who used to play basketball. Travis Best came out of Springfield, Mass. Played 10, 12 years in the league, great guy. One of the guys that was better than him in his own town, nothing against Travis, he was just better than him.
Yeah.
Didn't have mom and dad.
Yep.
He played for me in penitentiary.
Wow.
There's tons of people who
Yep.
didn't have a relentless mom. So let's give a shout out to what's mom's
Shout
first
out
name?
to my mother. We call her Tut, but Ormy. You know what I mean?
Okay, let's give hold on. We gotta give him official.
Yeah.
We gotta
Oh,
stop
man.
press.
Right on.
Talk to mom. Tell her
Listen,
you made it.
Mom, she knows. I'm greatly appreciative. I've written plenty songs about it. Your investment, it paid off. I came kicking and screaming, but I made it.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
This is the thing for my mom. I work with tons of parents since I've been home doing this work. And I can tell you this one thing. All parents have this one thing. And I said to my son this morning, the only thing we want to know as parents is that when we pass, you're going to be okay. If you can show and demonstrate that to your mother, her life is blessed.
Yeah.
So you've blessed her just by her knowing that when her day comes, her son is okay.
Exactly. And I will want to, what you just said is what I want you know, anybody who hears this to feel, or, you know, it's that sense of like, oh, because now I'm a parent, and I think about that. Like, my kids don't cause half the trouble that I caused my mom, or the grief. But now I think like, man, well, how would I feel? You know, how stressed out would I be? And now I've relieved a lot of that stress because she can just rest and be like, whew, you know what I mean? Like, because she did not expect this. You know, she did a lot of work. Like I said, she was relentless. She would go to the police station, take him off the gang list, because she knew what that meant.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just little stuff like that just was like looking out for her. But she worked in the system. So she worked at a halfway house. So she understood. And matter of fact, that's why I introduced to hip hop, was at the halfway house as well. Like, some of the cats there slid me some music for the first time. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know what this was.
So us both being dads, but never had a dad, I know how it is for me. How is it for you?
Yeah, it's extremely challenging from one perspective, because I'm really hard on myself, because I never had this model or anybody to show me what it means to be a dad. And so I'm really hard on myself, because I'm like, am I doing this right? But then it's also a blessing to me, because I get to be what I never had. You know, I get to say the things that were never said to me. I get to listen to conversations, you know, simple things. Like, my son and I went jogging. I was like, man, I never experienced that as a kid. You know, it's just something very simple, just to be able to apologize. I never had a grown man apologize to me for anything, and I can just shape and guide him, man. It's a blessing.
One thing I had to catch myself on doing with my son is I bought him more clothes in a week than my father has bought me in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I had to catch myself and keep telling him, your grandfather has never done this for me. It was more my issue than his. I was giving him my issues in the sense of, I thought I was making a point. And I do this as a speaker. I always tell people, never try to make a positive out of a negative. Don't teach positivity from negative lessons. But I'm teaching my son, because it was a me thing. Yo, your grandfather never took me anywhere. My son's been over 25 countries in the world on his third passport, and he's 16. He goes. But I had to catch myself to stop telling him, your grandfather never did this for me, so you should appreciate it. And he couldn't correlate it, because I've been there since day one.
Yeah.
So it's just
good.
I brainwash him though. Since you said nobody ever put you up on game.
Yeah.
I come out from the hood struggling. Everybody in the hood struggling. So I got my son. I'm doing okay. House, good wife, all that. I said, well, nobody ever pushed education to me. So I said to my son when he was little, he just talked. I said, you want some candy? He said, yeah. I said, tell me where you go to school. He says, I don't know, Dad. Shady Hill. And I said, where you going next? He says, I don't know. I said, want some more candy? I said, say Phillips Andover. Where you going after that? He says, I don't know. Want some more candy? Say Harvard. Business degree, law degree. So since he could talk, my son would tell you he's going to Shady Hill, Phillips Andover, Harvard, business degree, law degree. Since he could talk.
Wow.
And he's been saying it so long. I would be on the road, I call home, where you going to school? Where you going next? Now, Shady is the #1 school in the country for K-8.
Yeah.
Phillips Andover is #3 high school in the country, period.
Yeah.
And Harvard's what it is. So I had him saying these words before he understood them.
Yeah.
And he's been saying them so long, he can't separate them. In his mind, it's middle school, high school, college, 2 degrees. Mm-hmm. And at some point, he was probably like 8 or 9 when he decided he wanted to do something. And he went to his mom, was like, yo, Mom, I want to do engineering. But Dad had his business degree, law degree. We had this big sit down. And he was like, Dad, I'm like, what? And I was real hard. I made him fight for it.
Yeah.
And I tell him now that I never wanted him to do these exact things. Mm-hmm. You just have to have a plan, have to have a destination.
That's good.
We grew up without destinations.
Facts.
And not having a destination matters.
Yeah.
And if you ask him, going to college and getting a degree is just part of his psyche now.
Yeah.
So bribe your kids with some candy.
That's good.
And just get them to say it over and over and repeatedly make it fun. You call from the road, and they'll just keep saying it and saying it and saying it. Then they'll just internalize it.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I remember I was living in Memphis, and you know, I was young, and I went in to this family's house. I had dinner at this family's house. You know, a wealthy family. I think we were doing some fundraiser or something like that. And the son went to a private school. He was about 16, And I was just making conversation with him. And I was like, man, so what do you want to do when you, when you grow up? He was like, I'll probably just be a doctor like my dad. My head almost fell off my neck.
For sure.
Because I had never, that concept was so wild to me that he could just tell himself he was going to be a doctor.
Right.
Like his dad. And I remember in that moment, like, I didn't know we could do that. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was like shooting for the moon, but for him, it was nothing.
No.
And so, like you're saying, that's something that I always try to, put on my kids is like, hey, own something. You know what I mean? Be an owner. I want them to just walk away with that mindset.
There's two things.
Yeah.
But in the hood, you deal with now.
Yeah.
Do you have milk now? Do you have sugar now?
Right.
Do you have safety now? Do you have heat now? Everything's right now.
Yeah.
And we never think of next.
Yeah, it's facts.
I teach next.
That's
What's
good.
next?
Yeah.
I'm saying, after you finish all this, what's next? Yeah. College for my son is next. A life for my son is next. Travel so when I speak to people, whether it's my son or people in society, I don't speak to their now.
Yeah.
Because they got to deal with that on their own.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak to your next.
That's good.
And I'm going to point them in a direction that's beneficial to them.
That's good.
So how's it living in Atlanta?
I love Atlanta. I can't imagine living anywhere else. It's
Don't say that. There's a lot of wonderful places.
Nah, I've been to every state in America.
No. See, let's stop.
Yeah.
There's other places. Why did you say
okay.
Come on.
I mean, I feel what you're saying.
Don't slide backwards. Let's go next.
Yeah, I mean,
pick a country.
I've been around the world. I've been around the world. I mean, I haven't been all over the place, but
inspire our listeners with some options.
I like Tokyo. I love Tokyo.
Since that postcard.
Only thing that's hard is the language barrier. But it's just a process. I like Tokyo. I thought I would love Paris. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Paris is small. I hate to say dirty, but grimy, but it's like
Paris.
Congested. It's a tiny New York.
Exactly what it is.
It's too congested.
I wasn't feeling Paris. There's still places I haven't been to. I think I really like the Eastern world more. You know what I'm saying? I went to Egypt, different countries within Africa.
Where have you been in Africa?
Oh, man. Kenya, Botswana, Zambia, Cape Town, Joburg.
What was it like being there? Because they call us African Americans, but most of us never been to Africa.
Yeah.
So when you actually touched down, did you get a vibe?
Man, it was wild. I'm more like, I was tripped out on just the different cultures. It's like this, like how culturally different it was, and how receptive everybody was, and how they just embraced me. And I don't know, what I mean? I guess I was just more like, I didn't know what to expect, and then my expectations were blown out of the water. But yeah, I think I was just like, wow, this is like heritage history, and I wanted to just continue exploring, So I'm planning. I got another trip to Ethiopia coming up, and I can't wait to get out there. I've never been there.
Yeah, we gotta get you streamed back to the penitentiary and to the world from there.
That'd be crazy.
I
mean that, because honestly, that's what a lot of folks, a lot of people that I know who are incarcerated outside of yourself, because you went to a whole European trip before you got incarcerated, but they hadn't seen nothing else. So you can't do better if you never knew better. You can only become what you've beheld. So if I have never seen it, how am I expected to become it? You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes you got to put that vision in front of people so that they can say, oh, shoot, I didn't know this was a possibility. Most of the things that we see, which, I mean, I'm part of it, is athletes and entertainers. And I don't think we know we can do more and be more than that. Those are just the only pathways that we see.
Nah, so. You're not an entertainer.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying. I know some people will be like...
some people are entertainers.
Yeah.
Because when they get on, their sole purpose is just to read a script, shoot a ball, and that's their thing.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Then there's some people who transcend that. So you've transcended simply saying some lyrics, showing up on a video shoot. Because if you'd have stayed in your old space, I'd say you're an entertainer.
Okay.
You'd be a great entertainer. You've transcended from just being an entertainer to being an educator.
I respect that. I appreciate that. I'm going to use that.
We're sitting here because you're an educator. We're not sitting here because you make dope lyrics and you want to. We're sitting here because you're somebody special.
Wow. I appreciate that.
I'm saying, I don't go no. This is the beauty about my life. I work for Andre Norman Incorporated, and I love my boss. Yeah. I don't do nothing I don't want to do. I don't talk to nobody I want to talk to. Can't nobody make me do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They try to crush me in the penitentiary. They spent millions of dollars to crush me. Yeah. All I needed was someone to talk to. So since I've been home, it's been a rule of my life that if I'm not happy or I don't feel comfortable, I do what my mother taught me, get your hat and coat and keep moving. Yeah. So I'm here because of the things that you're doing. That's what I'm saying. And not just, oh, he got a Grammy. Okay, cool. Using it. You're using that Grammy to lift people. Success is not a success without a successor. That means when you go back and help people get to where you are, if not, you're just lucky. There's a lot of lucky people or gifted people, but successful people help other people like them become successful.
That's a retweet. Do you ever do solitary?
2.5 years.
You was the type of person that sit in solitary and like you would probably eat it. Like,
that was nothing.
Because the way your mind works is such a man, that's crazy. What did you do? How did you what was your routine in solitary? Like to stay sane, to stay?
My routine in solitary, other than fighting the gods, when that got worn out, I get a newspaper. Okay. I might get a newspaper like once a month. Yeah. But the newspaper hit my desk and it come through. I'm like, okay, I'd read it. Okay. The parts that I liked. Yeah. Then I go back and read it, the parts that I liked again. Okay. And it's like 3 days later, I got the same paper, so I'm reading the parts that I don't like. Then I started reading all the parts. Then I read this thing like 4 times in 3 different ways. I read the funnies, I read this, I read that. I couldn't do the crosswords because my spelling was horrible. But I read everything else, read the classifieds. Then one day I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And I still got nothing but this paper. So I went in the paper and I started solving the problems that I saw in the paper. Wow. It's like, okay, they're having this issue with parking on this side of town. Well, what would I do? Well, they're having gang issues over here. Well, what would I do? They have a problem with the teachers pay and they want to strike. How would I approach that? And I sat there, had nothing but time, 24 hours a day for 2.5 years with maybe one newspaper, figuring out the solutions.
That's crazy.
And then once I thought I had a solution, there was a dude next door to me named Junior, and he was on heavy medication. Kid you not. He had an order to force medicate him if he didn't take his meds. Wow. Because he came off his meds, he hurt people. Yeah. And I'd say, hey, Junior, like, what's up, Dre? And I run my solution by Junior. Yo, this is how I fix the school teacher thing. This is how I fix, this motivation thing for this company. Yeah. And when Junior Chung could understand completely what I was saying and articulate it back to me, I knew I had a winner.
That's what I'm saying. You kept your mind busy, man.
Shout out to Junior Chung.
Sheesh.
You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he's out, but if he's in and he's watching JPay, because they got JPay in Massachusetts, he literally would sit with me and just talk to me. And when Junior Chung could understand completely everything I was saying, I had a winner. I didn't impress smart people. I impressed Junior.
That's what it's about, man.
So solitary, I watch people go crazy, watch people hang themselves, set themselves on fire. I mean, to be locked in a cell 24 hours a day with nothing. For 8 months, I ran for myself. Then eventually, I had to face myself and come to see, well, who is Andre? Yeah. What is Andre? And where's Andre going? And where's Andre come from? Yeah. And trauma. We grew up, we didn't call it trauma, we call it growing up. Yeah. They got all these wonderful names now. Man. It was called, that's just how your aunt was. That's just how your brother was. That's just how them people were. That's just life. What we called life, they now call trauma.
Yeah. Real rap.
I had to get to a place of understanding my life and understanding where I fit into it. And just stay down on it. Yeah. And sitting in solitary, the most important, like you got that postcard, penitentiary across the country. You know what the most important moment of the day is? Mail call. Because when that person walks by your cell, the CO, and they stop and they look at you, if they hand you a letter, what they're really saying is the world says you exist. Yeah. And if they keep walking, what they're saying is you don't matter today. Yeah. And it was a constant struggle to matter. Yeah.
I tell my cousin that, and I used to tell some of the dudes I would mentor in the detention center, like society looks at y'all as people trash. Like this is the dumpster, the human dumpster. And so you got to fight that lie that you're not like society's wasteland. You know what I mean? And like you still matter. It's like you're not just recycled parts. And when you talk about solitary, like in my brain, I think like, man, it's such a disregard for mental health. You know what I mean? Because you don't get the skills or the know-how to know to keep your mind busy or to meditate or to process. You know, it's like folks don't realize if you dwell on that negativity all day long, like it's gonna affect your brain.
You're gonna snap.
Exactly. And so I was thinking about the way you're talking. I was like, man, you're the type of person that, you know, would survive solitary, you know.
No, solitary made me. Either it makes or it breaks you, and it made me. Yeah. So for the brothers and sisters in solitary, give them a quick pickup.
Man, sheesh. Listen, if you on your way to the hole, you've been in a hole, you anticipate going to the hole, and you got access to this, I would just say, like, man, your brain is an organ like the rest of your body. If you don't exercise those parts of your body, then they will suffer. And so you got to exercise your brain, as he was just stating about how he was solving problems. Like, that's what our brain is wired to do. And if you just dwell on negativity all day long, or dwell on the problems and not the solutions, or you just feed yourself the same lies over and over again, the brain is so amazing. It adapts to that, and it'll grab onto that and take you down a dark path. But if you will feed your brain healthy things, you know, meditate on things that are good, that are true, that are purposeful, solve problems, just look for ways to exercise your brain, and become better, then you can survive it. You know what I'm saying? As we witness right here. Not only survive, but thrive. Like, he's thriving because of it. So,
Bible saved your life, I heard.
Shh, facts. You heard that story?
Bible saved your life, because one of the few things they might give you in the hole is a Bible or a Quran.
Yeah. Oh,
so
man.
The Bible saved your life story for people in solitary. And again, driving in your car on the way to work, you might be in solitary. Facts. Sitting in that bubble or that little booth at whatever office, cranking out whatever you cranking out, might be solitary. Yeah. Being a CEO on the top floor at the end of the hall when everybody's scared to come in and see you, you're in solitary. Yeah. And rich people who live in gated communities, locked in their houses, because we was kids, your neighbors came over. Yeah. I hear the story about Luther falling out and being on the floor for 3 days. You couldn't happen in the hood. There'd have been some in your house every 20 minutes. They'd have found you in 15 minutes. Yeah. You can't fall out in the hood and nobody finds you. Yeah. Bible saved your life. So
obviously what's inside of the Bible literally saved my life, but the presence of the actual physical Bible saved my life. You know, I was on a school campus trespassing. I had some stuff with me that I was delivering packages.
Yeah, stuff.
Yeah, man, you know. And I got apprehended. You know, somebody, I guess, pointed me out or whatever.
The tall black guy.
Yeah. So I got apprehended, and as I'm sitting in the officer's vehicle, he searches my car. He finds some stuff, but he also finds my Bible, which I had on a dashboard, and it was kind of, my grandmother gave it to me. So in a way, it was good luck, right? But it wasn't. It was something I was really like reading and going through, because I had my spiritual transformation or, you know, conversion. But like I say, you know, it takes a minute to get a person out of slavery. It takes a lifetime to get slavery out the person. So, you know, my old ways die hard. And this was like a wake-up call. So the officer, you know, sees my Bible and he's opening it up. I don't know this at the time. I'm sitting in his car, his vehicle. And he sees the highlights, because I was really reading it. I'm highlighting stuff, I'm writing stuff, and he's reading my notes and all of this stuff. So he's like, I think he was sympathetic to it, or maybe he was an angel. I don't know. Maybe it was wild. But he comes back to the car. He says, "You got a Bible in there?" I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "You've been reading it, huh?" I said, "I mean, I try." He says, "You need to live by it, don't you?" I said, "I need to." And he was like, "I want you to get out of here, and I don't want to see you again. You know, I want you to take that Bible, I want you to get into it, and I want you to let it change you, and I don't want to see you again." And he uncuffed me. I got in my car, the stuff was gone, and I drove off, and I didn't ask no questions. And it was like the wake-up call of all wake-up calls. I was like, I don't believe this just happened. So it was crazy.
And you went from that. Now, listen, shout out to Officer Friendly.
Right. Yo,
Real
it's
talk.
wild,
And
man.
shout out to grandma.
Shout out to grandma. Yeah, like, I mean, that set me on a new trajectory because that should have changed the course of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should have changed the course of my life. It set me on a new trajectory, on a new plane. And I really did, man. I really was like, all right, I got to figure something out. You know what I'm saying? Like, God has given me too many signs. And he was very patient with me, very gracious with me, gave me lots of signs and
He
wonders.
had a plan for you.
Yeah.
You was in the way of the plan, but he had a plan for you.
Boy, who you telling? Yeah.
Now, something as troubling as having some stuff, being out of bounds, which should have been a negative,
Right.
became one of the biggest positives in your life.
Crazy.
There are people in jail right now who think that this is their biggest negative,
Right.
but it's actually going to become their biggest positive
Man.
if they let it.
I think about my guy, Rasan. You know, he's doing 25 to life. And I mean, you know, his first 4 years, he was depressed. He was angry. He was frustrated. And all he could think about was, man, I shouldn't be here. You know, like, you know, you're just thinking about all that time. And every time he thought about it, he would just like, you know what I mean? It just make him want to relive the past and change everything. But he got to a point where it was like, nothing's about to change.
Until I change.
Exactly. And that was what it came down to for him. He was like, I'm going to change. Started taking financial literacy classes, started putting his family on game, changed the financial course of their lives. Then he started taking literacy classes, started writing, and some of the stuff he's written has been picked up by major publications. And so this is a skill set he didn't even know he had. So now you're just looking at the trajectory of his life, and imagine if he gets commuted or, you know, anything.
He's ready.
You know what I mean?
But I'll tell you, I had an old timer, lifer, who's
Yeah.
most likely never going to walk outside of that prison, tap me on the shoulder and point me in the direction that changed my life. Now, had he flipped his case, I wouldn't have changed my life.
Wow.
So sometimes, unfortunately,
Yeah.
you are where you are because you might be the blessing that launches a Lecrae.
Exactly.
You might be that cop might not have loved his job. He could have been a lawyer or a businessman. He was a cop. And you had the right cop on the right day, and that's why he was commissioned to be that person. And you needed him on that day and in that mindset.
Yeah.
So I don't know if your cousin's going to be the person that God needs to utilize there.
Yeah.
You can't pick where you serve.
Right.
You just serve where they pick.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So if God puts you inside of a prison cell, serve. If he puts you inside of a rapper's body, you serve. Wherever he puts you, you serve. You know what I'm saying? And let him elevate and decide what's good or bad.
Yo, this interview's done. You just ruined me.
But now, we're about to go back inside. Because you took your music.
Yeah.
You took your music and you could have sold it. You do sell. It's how you feed your family.
Yeah.
So you've taken some of the stuff off your table and you put it into a contest for brothers and sisters in the penitentiary.
Yeah.
Tell me why you did that.
I mean, because, you just said it. You know what I'm saying? You know, you don't pick where you serve where you picked. Or I think for me, it's like, I just got tired of seeing people, because I got family members who are incarcerated, and I know that when I hear stuff on television or whatever, how it's like, man, they're demeaned or treated as if they're not people, you know, like they don't matter. And if God woke them up today, they matter. You know, they matter anyway, but I'm just saying, like, God still got them on this earth, even though they're locked away. They have value, purpose, worth, and why wouldn't you take care of them? You know what I'm saying? Jesus took care of them. He was like, man, did you came and visited me when I was in prison? So I'm just trying to follow in the footsteps of what I feel like God would want me to do, and that's just one thing. You know, my last album, I made it available, you know, for people incarcerated first before it hit the streets. And so it's like, man, what else can we do? You know, how else can I help them to know that they're appreciated? So
You took your album and you put it inside the penitentiary before you put it on the streets.
Yep.
I'm going to say this to everybody in the penitentiary. If you ain't downloading and subscribed to this, man, you out of order.
Yeah.
You just flat out of order. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I see the people who want to follow me, hit the like button. Nah. When somebody does the right thing for you, you do the right thing for them. I got a brother who does YouTube. He says he's never asked anybody to follow his channel. He has over 500 million streams. Wow. 500 million. He says, if you do the right thing, people will know what to do. Man did the right thing. Now you do what you're supposed to do.
Respect.
Now, if your subscribers don't go up, I'm quick to tell people, like, man, we ain't rocking with y'all. Y'all ain't about the business.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all here for the, you know what I'm saying, for the cake and the bread.
Yeah.
So you ain't here for the work. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
tell me about the contest.
Yeah, so the contest is basically, you know, I got with my man Zaytoven, who produced one of my projects called Let the Trap Say. Man, we did it together, and I knew he was about that life and about that business. So it was kind of like, man, there's so much talent behind the walls. And I see it all the time. Every time I go to a different institution, it's just crazy talent behind the walls. They always like, yo, let me rap with you. Let's do this. And that talent doesn't get exposed. So it's like, hey, what we're gonna do is create a contest. Zaytoven gonna provide the beats. We're gonna give y'all the opportunity to create some original music. We're gonna see, you know, highlight those individuals that shine. You know what I mean? And then I'm hopping on the song and we putting it out. You know what I mean? And so to highlight that particular individual. So.
Do you know, beyond the person who wins, how many people win? Everybody. Because you're creating a movement.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the winner.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what's happening along the way.
Yeah.
So explain to me what you think the process is behind the wall for all the people. There's over 500,000 people who have access to this contest.
Right.
What do you think they're doing?
I mean, honestly, like, you talking about in terms of how they win?
No. What they're doing, the guys and the ladies who are going to be part of this.
Yeah.
What do you think they're doing right now?
Oh, they working on their song.
Instead of?
Whatever they could be doing. It's focusing on the negative.
And guess what other people are doing who are around them?
Watching them. For them. Yeah, you know what I mean?
They're
being
witnessing.
by them.
You're creating witnesses.
Yeah.
And this ain't a LeBron thing. We love LeBron. But you're creating witnesses.
Yeah.
Because if they're in their rooms or in their public area working on their music, everybody's watching them. You understand that? Did you understand? Did you understand?
I
that?
definitely get you.
No.
They
By
watching.
They're sitting down writing gospel lyrics
Yeah.
inside of hell.
But, you
And
know,
everybody in hell is being forced to watch this.
yeah. Hey,
How many
man,
people did you think you're going to convert through this process?
I'm just, again, man, I'm just like, for me, it's like just being able to put it out there, just being able to serve, just being able to, you know, for me, it's all about, like I say, it's about shalom. It's about peace for me. So if I can provide peace, I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's external peace. Like, maybe you was just going through a bad day and you got a break and you was able to write, and you was able to communicate, or you was able to listen to some good music. External peace is great, but maybe it's supernatural peace because you heard some life transforming lyrics. And I'm just about, man, if I can provide that to people, man, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
If we go back to our childhood, it was watching people do things that inspired us to do things.
Yeah.
You've created a movement where you have thousands of people doing positive things. And from that, they're going to encourage and inspire others around them to want to do positive, whether it's lyrics or not.
Yeah.
You created a movement, man, and it's definitely a blessing. I just need you to understand that it's bigger than a contest.
Yeah.
It's see people do well.
Right.
The same way we saw people do negative. And you're the catalyst. So
Man, I'm a
you're
part
saving
of
lives
it.
today.
I'm a part of it. You know, if y'all don't know, I would just say that to anybody out there, like, you know, I'm a part of a bigger movement. Obviously, you know, it's bigger than me, but like the whole Reach Records team gets behind these initiatives and gets excited about it. And it's like, you can't be passionate about something without people around you who can support that passion. And that's what I love, is the whole squad is about it. So any artist that's on Reach Records, listen to their music, because behind them are individuals who really sincerely, genuinely care about impacting you, your family, whoever's listening. And man, I'm just, you know, one piece of that puzzle. So I'm grateful to be a part of it.
We got to shut this down,
Yeah.
but we ain't closing it out.
All right.
Because the word don't stop.
For sure.
We serve a living God.
Right on.
We read from a living Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's living people who are living in a dead space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we need you. My favorite scripture is Psalms 3.
Yeah.
Because my God wakes me. You know what I'm saying? He puts a hedge of protection around me.
Yeah.
And best of all, he'll break the teeth of my enemy. When I read that, that's how I can rock with him. I said, if this dude can smash the teeth of somebody, I can rock with him. So it was the big brother I never had. What's your favorite scripture to close us out?
Man, it's a lot of them, but one that I would throw out right now is one that I think a lot of people know, but it's just I want to maybe put a different spin on it. But Jeremiah 29:11 says, "I know the plans I have for you, plans for a future and a hope, plans to prosper you." Right, and but that was given to people who was going through pain. You know, they was experiencing 70 years of exile, essentially like incarcerated under the boot of a whole nother group of people. And in that time, you know, God was saying, man, live life, you know, plant vineyards, build houses. Basically, he's saying keep living, because even though it's hard for the time you're under right now, I know the plans I have for you, plans for a future and a hope. So whatever you dealing with or you battling right now, what you going through, just remember God knows the plans he has for you, and his plans for a future and a hope. Just keep trusting him, keep living.
Give them the scripture one more time, but say a little bit slower, because some of us we're in special needs classes.
Jeremiah 29:11. Yeah, for I know the plans I have for you, plans for a future and a hope, plans to prosper you. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Securus original. Second Acts is in the building. You know what I'm saying? We are here at Reach Records in Atlanta. Yes, the whole squad is here, man. It's been nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? If you appreciate this and you get this, just say, hey, you want some more? If you really, this is what you really need to do. Y'all need to get on your little Twitter feeds, whatever you got there, and just say you want to see this man live. I'm saying y'all need to say, we put up campaigns to get better food. We put up campaigns to get more rec time. You need to put up a campaign to get Lecrae in your building, in the flesh.
I'm coming. You y'all do it, I'll show up for real. I'm with it.
Be about it. So from Securus Originals, Second Acts, your host, Andre Norman. Brother, I just want to say it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you.
You know what I'm saying? The blessings that you have, you've definitely passed it on, man, and that's what it's about.
Great.
So, ladies and gentlemen, till the next time, we see you wherever you might be. Know that we're thinking about you, we care about you, and if you need some help, reach out. We're here for you in real time.